Aries, where we left off was that we had a situation that was deeply rooted in the world, and that with another video we could go over how you could to work with your thoughts, change your perspective, and be able to move forward with it. And upon some further meditation during our break, I came to the realization while gazing at these cards that we actually have two distinct sets of Aries. Sorry, the moon shifted into Taurus after I finished that video, and so Taurus has been on my mind, things to do with the earth, worldly things, etc. But what I'm really getting out of these cards right here is that I need to speak to both groups, and that's fine, we can do that for sure. The thing that stands out to me about any of you who are dealing with love lost, and this doesn't have to be romantic love, this can really be what people call twin flame, soulmate, soul connection, a pillar in your life, but absolutely romantic love. It could be lust, it could be someone that you've been chasing or watching even. Is we have a situation that is unfair. We have you, this is definitely you, being chained to the wall, right? Chained, absolutely chained. Your head is being held in your arms in despair. You're quite a strong person here, you know, you're Aries. Above your head are not just the swords, but a black mandala, if you will. And what this represents is a situation that that is coming from the outside, where there is no good way out, there's no good choice. And you can work with this, absolutely, but it does explain better the emotional significance of what's going on. And so I think we do need to be careful, and I think we do need to explore these cards a little bit more so that we can figure out for both groups, you know, what the best way to conceive of what these cards are trying to tell us and the situation, and work our way maybe backwards and then through it, could be. But I do definitely feel for you guys. I feel for you, Aries, especially coming into your birthday month and coming into this new year, the new Hebrew year at least, but definitely this new astrological year that you all always kick off, and try to see what we can do about this sense that you don't have any good choices. This number 8 of Swords, the good news that it brings is that in this deck, it is a white mandala. There are choices here, there are good choices, and the sense that this feminine energy brings is of being caught. You see this spider web that she's caught in. The nice thing is that she can free herself. She just needs to reach for any one of these swords and cut herself free. The important thing is that she does make the right decision, and as we know, the decision feels impossible because it feels like there is no right decision, but I promise that there is a decision that's the right one for you. And the 8 of Swords can signify being stuck, and it can also signify being stuck without cause. It can signify having too many choices, or feeling like you just can't make a decision. It can signify feeling like there is a decision to be made when in fact you just need to go forward, make the next step. So there is good news in this card, definitely, especially in this 3-card spread. And again, as I said before, I'm really not reading this as you. I'm reading this as spirit, as a guide, as something telling you that this is going to be okay. And I'm getting this because it's such a different mood. I'm not reading this as a past, present, future situation. I'm reading this more as a message to you, coming from your intuition, and your intuition always tells you that you can trust yourself. And the nice thing about trusting yourself is trusting outcomes, you know, trusting the future. The King of Swords in particular is the king that is righteous. He's also freaking angry easily, right? He's very much a Mars card. This this Nine of Swords is also very well aligned to you guys, and in the spirit of wondering about love. This can be Gemini. In some tarot cards, they assign it to Sagittarius. Different cards, different decks of cards will use different planets assigned to different decans, which are the divisions within the 12 divisions of the lunar year. So 9 can be Venus, it can be Earth, or the Nine of Swords can be Venus, it can be Earth. And of course Venus is Gemini, and Earth is Taurus, Sagittarius. Venus can be Libra. It really depends on the situation that you have going on in your tarot deck, but to me, I would think that if we're talking about a Mars love situation, an Aries love situation, that's really the energies that we're working with. And of course, we've got your regular sign, you know, the sun sign that you were born under, but then you also have your moon sign and your rising sign. Jupiter sign, sure, but I'm really getting more of a sun, rising, and moon sign, especially moon when it comes to love. You can go ahead and throw in your Venus sign, sure, but to me the moon sign is more important when it comes to love than the Venus sign. It's just, things are just getting a little bit too complicated when you start being very particular about each sign. I think the moon really does have an effect on things that happen down here on Earth. I think the rest of the planets can't be so. I just don't buy it. Don't subscribe if you can't handle that kind of thinking. So let's get some clarification for you. I want 2 sets of clarification because we are definitely dealing with 2 sets of problems. We've got the here on Earth problem, you know, more of the Pentacle situation that we were dealing with before, and we've got the love problem. So we're going to continue to use the Mystic Mondays Tarot for the here on Earth Pentacle situation that we were using in the previous deck. And let's see, for the love situation, boy, it's a tough one. You know, I have my favorite deck, so let's do the Pentacles first, and then we'll loop back around to the love. We might get two sets of interpretations coming out of these cards. Okay, so here we have Temperance reversed, the Hierophant, and the Seven of Wands. Let's learn more about this Seven of Pentacles, Four of Wands, and Ace of Swords. Okay, and let's find more about this King. Five of Swords, Eight of Swords, and the Hermit. Okay, well, I'm liking where this is going already. So I think definitely we've got a distinct reading on the situation that's the here and now, things that are taking place on Earth with earthly problems. Temperance, we had with our first reading of the day, our first reading of the astrological new year. This is a reminder to strike balance in our life. And with this being upside down, it's giving you a clear signal that we can't. I don't think that's really helpful though. So I'm gonna reach into the book, Mystic Monday's Tarot, and just see what it says regarding the Temperance card. I don't want to read into these cards from the different decks and get it wrong. So Temperance inversed is saying imbalance, discord, frustration, which of course we can get. It's giving you advice to prioritize activities so that you can experience more joy on a daily basis. I think that's some good advice, you know, moving forward if you're trying to get through this struggle. It says manage the activities that you don't enjoy by releasing obligations or asking for help. Make way for clarity and feed your soul with nourishing love. Organize long-term goals by taking action and scheduling smaller steps into your calendar. It's easy to get overwhelmed by the big picture and frustrated when your goals do not happen immediately. Sure. I mean, that's what that previous situation was all about, is things just not coming to a fruition. It says have patience, put in the work, remember to schedule in plenty of self-care. Build the foundation for freedom and flow. And I think that's really the message here, is you're rebuilding foundations. Now, we also have the Hierophant. The Hierophant signifies someone that people go to for advice and for counsel, for seeking counsel. Now, I can certainly be that person in your life right now, but when it comes to this loss, this emotional loss, we could be talking about someone that you have lost, that served as that in that role. So I don't want to be too glib about that. And as far as this Temperance card is giving you some advice on, you know, the advice could be to return to someone who does serve as your counselor, as someone who gives you good advice. In other decks, the Hierophant is called the Pope, and in the newer other decks, the card is called the, let's see, like the Priest or High Priest, something like that. But let's see what kind of advice that we can invert from this deck. Well, it's telling you to return to tradition. It's also the card of Taurus, of course. You know, it is saying return to tradition. It's saying go back to the things that you know that have worked before. And it says to try to conform. You know, perhaps for someone or some people who have seen things not work out, it's because they tried something new and they innovated, or they went out on a limb and they took a risk. There's nothing wrong with that. And in fact, you don't really learn unless you take a risk, unless you try to implement the things that you've learned before and put them together. And if you can put things that you've learned together in a new way, you know, that's where true innovation occurs, and that's where breakthroughs occur. If they don't work out right now, it doesn't mean they won't work out in the future, and you might learn something very soon or later on about why it didn't work out right now. So it's not really necessarily a reason to feel so held down by your thoughts and ideas about what's going on right now. Again, this card is telling you that the situation is unfair. Whatever it is, it's just not fair. But we know from the reading for everybody this morning for the new astrological year that overall there is going to be justice. So I want you to keep that in mind. Again, going back to the love situation, this Hierophant could be somebody that you turn to for direction. It could be someone that you turn to for support. In the worst case, for people who don't have a true, strong sense of themselves, it could be the person that you turn to looking for a sense of your own self, looking for a reflection of yourself in them, so that you could feel whole, you could feel worthy, you could feel like the things that you did mattered somewhere. And if that is the case, then the lesson that you really need to be learning, the lesson that you should be accepting, that this death gives rise to is that you have to be that person for yourself. And now the Seven of Wands, in this deck, clearly, this is someone who is fighting off an external battle, right? External things coming at them. It could be internal ideas that they're fighting off, of course, but in other decks, the Seven of Wands has very different imagery. You know, here we have a real firebrand, right? Even red hair. So in reverse, you know, the message here is really clear, which is give it a break. Give it a break. Stop fighting. Stop fighting. We already know that the situation is unfair. We already know that there's no good out. There's no good option. We already know that you're freaking stuck. We know that. We already know from the last three cards that you just are choosing not to move on. Okay, that's fine. Relax. You know, just take it easy, please. Take it easy. And if for some of you, this redhead is the person, okay. Moving on to this 8. The sense of being stuck when we're not. The sense of no way out when there is. The sense that the answer is out of our reach when it's right there. Right there. Just take a bigger stretch. A little bit of a bigger stretch without even looking. Use some faith. What you'll get is you'll see that the things that you've planted will come to fruition. They will. Oftentimes, when you're dealing with things in the real world, again, going back to taking a risk, trying new things, even going the course that you've been on for a while, they don't turn out the way that you planned them to. They don't turn out the way that you meant them to. They don't turn out the way that people said they would, right? In the previous video, I said this could be someone who's needing to withdraw from a class. It could be someone who, you know, invested in any other area with their time or their money. But the good news that we have here is the Seven of Pentacles. You know, the Seven of Pentacles says whatever it is, you actually have made some serious investment here. You've made some serious investment. It's growing. No, you can't pick it yet. No, you can't. But you do have investment here. It's mysterious, right? It's mysterious. But it is a real investment. It doesn't feel that way, but it is. You do have to have that faith. Also, as it comes to a love situation or a love loss situation, when it is a matter of moving on, you know, the tough thing is trying to figure out what it is that we keep in the relationships that we lost, you know, and that can be really difficult. Each one of us has our own sense of self, our own sense of decency, respect for ourselves, questioning what it is that we did or could have done, how we wish we would have acted, would have been, could have seen things coming, could have changed things. I'm going to go ahead and clarify this Seven of Pentacles for the Aries who are in love. I'm going to do that. And I'm going to clarify it. Oh boy. I'm going to clarify it with the Labyrinth Tarot. This is a Marseille deck. I think if I just quickly throw a couple cards out, we can have an answer. I just want to know, you know, where the best place to start or the best place to be thinking about could be, because I really want to help you through this. You know, losing someone, whether they're still here or they're not here, whether they're talking to you or they're freaking bothering you, whether you're trying to talk to them, you know, they're ignoring you, they're talking about you. It can just be so difficult here. This fell out. And here we have Venus. Again, this is a Marseille deck, so, and this is an interpretive deck. This is a more modern deck, so the planets and the signs are different. So here, for this person who is in love, had love, cannot move on from love, is holding on to love. We've got the Emperor. So whoever it is that you lost is a very masculine energy. So I'm thinking this probably talks to either many of our women. It doesn't have to be women and men. It doesn't have to be lesbians. It doesn't have to be anything like that. But it is talking to a masculine energy. You know, someone who was the one who kind of had it all together and was the one who felt secure in the ways that are traditionally seen as masculine, right? That's what these cards are. These are traditional mythological archetypes. That's it. So again, this card does have to do with love, and your love lost was your Emperor, and that's really tough. It could be someone's grandfather, someone's matriarch, you know, someone who was really keeping things together. It could be someone's head of their division or their company. It could be someone whose passing or loss is leaving behind a whole lot of pain, just a whole lot of pain. You know, people who are going through a lot of strife, a lot of struggles, losing someone who was the source of stability and directionality in their world, in their community, in their nation. You know, that's who this Emperor represents. And in the Marseille deck, we don't get a whole lot of imagery. You know, these are not personal stories. But we have the Seven of Pentacles, and we have the Eight of Swords. So again, we've got this Eight of Swords on top of the Eight of Swords. We've got the Seven of Pentacles on top of the Seven of Pentacles. I think, really, that's the story here. Is you've lost your Emperor. And the idea is, for the lover, you can move on, you can take a step forward, you can free yourself from this. And it's right there. It's right there. It's not fair. No, it's not fair. Absolutely not fair. There is no right answer, so you just have to pick one. Now, moving on towards what I see as an external support, an external savior in all of this. Mercy, a reason to go towards temperance, a reason to have faith, a reason to follow up on the messages that we received this morning for the new astrological year. We've got the Five of Swords in reverse, which is great. You know, it says stop fighting. You know, what more would you want to hear if this is your situation? You know, these are internal battles that you're fighting right here. It says stop. Stop. Look at this. More Eight of Swords. Unnecessary. This King of Swords kicks this out. Unnecessary. Reversed. And the other thing that it does for you, and I think this is so important. This is so important whether you're dealing with something in life that is causing you to question yourself and your place in life and where you're going in life, or if this really is a relationship whose loss is shaking you to the core, is the Hermit. And the Hermit signifies going inwards and spending time getting closer in touch with yourself, with your intuition, with your inner guidance, with that really, really quiet voice that you have, with this voice. It's spending time there and growing. You know, this energy is here to support you doing your work, your inner work, your spiritual work, your meditative work, your soul-searching work, that work that you use to recuperate and recover yourself, that work that you do to free yourself. Where did that card go? To pick up any one of these swords and just boop, cut yourself out. To lift up your eyes and look around and say, yeah, this sucks. I'm done with it. I think that's what we're getting here. I think that's the end of the story, is that you have everything that you need to say, I have built something. I may not know what it is. It's a mystery. At this point in time, it's a mystery, but I can go inward. I can do that work. I can. I'm supported. I'm supported by everything I've done in the past. I'm supported by everything that I have learned, everything I've been through. All of these things that I've done, everything that I've been through. If I can get myself a little more on even keel, if I can drink a little bit more water, if I can get a little bit more sunshine, if I can move my body, stretch it just a tiny bit more so I'm more comfortable, if I can let my eyes rest without constantly feeding myself new information, new entertainment, new excitement, looking for the next thing, if I can just go inwards and give myself this chance, stop freaking fighting. Don't need to. I will reach this Ace of Swords, this new idea. This new idea. Stop fighting. I don't have to protect what I have. This Four of Wands that we didn't really consider. I don't have to protect this. There's nothing to protect. I don't need it. I have a foundation. I am growing things. And I am protected. By who else? None other than the King of Swords. It's beautiful. And I really hope that this message helps you. I'm going to draw a moon card for you. I like these moon cards that I have. I hope that it's helpful. Let's see what comes up. I'm gonna go ahead and read from this Moon Oracle book because each one of these moon cards has a lesson. And I like these cards because they each represent a goddess, mythical goddess. And by listening to that goddess's very short story, truncated version, you might be able to apply something to your own life. You know, whether you're in this situation of dealing with an ego loss, or you're in this situation of dealing with a true soul connection loss. Here, I've drawn this Venus card, number 7, the Visitor. It's actually not a not a goddess. This is Moon Mansion number 7, and the moon has mansions in a couple of other cultures, similarly to the sun having mansions. You know, we've got the 12 houses. So the moon has mansions, and mansion 7 is the Visitor. It goes from partway through Gemini through the beginning of Cancer, and it's ruled by Venus and Uranus. A seated figure wearing a long yellow dress looks pensively ahead to the left. Next to her, also seated, a strange green figure turns around to face us and touches the left arm of the first figure in a gesture of friendship. Each figure wears a garment decorated with symbols. In the background are black hills, and there is a full moon. Aries, the arm of Gemini. Traditionally, when the moon was located in this mansion, it was said to be a favorable time for lovers and friendships. It was also an auspicious time to make pentacles and cast spells to obtain the favors of the great ones. Pleasure-loving Venus denotes comfort and security in relationships, while unsettling Uranus signifies sudden and unexpected events that move us out of familiar tried and trusted methods or routines. When these two planets conjoin, there are bound to be surprises all around and unusual occurrences, especially in the area of relationships. If you draw this card, it indicates that a new or unexpected social contact or relationship will be formed that has a bearing on the matter in question. A hand of friendship will be or has been offered from a most unlikely quarter. This card can also signify an attraction to someone who is not the sort of person you would usually choose to socialize with. So what this says is we're looking out for an unexpected relationship. You know, this could be the relationship with spirit, it could be the relationship with yourself, it could be the relationship with this green figure that we saw from the reading for all. The one earlier today had 4 arms and 4 hands. And what I really like about this card for you is that it's looking towards the full moon. We're in the new moon, and our next full moon will be coming up shortly. Let's see what that will be. We've got a full moon in, where are we? Good grief. Oh yeah, April 19th. So, just before... Okay, April 19th, so just after the moon goes right back into Aries, just before the moon hits Taurus again. It's gonna hit Taurus and Aries at the same time. So you've got this time to be slinking through Gemini and Pisces as far as the moon goes. You're gonna be going through a retrograde of Cancer, so emotional retrograde. You're gonna be going back into Aries, then into Taurus and Aries again. And then after the next new moon, you'll be back into Taurus. I think this is going to be a very fascinating time for you emotionally and in particular spiritually. And I'll be here for you through this. This will be really a good journey for you, I think. Very good journey. So thank you for watching. Let me know if you have any questions. I want to hear about your updates. You can absolutely comment here or email me. Please keep in touch.